tape right now because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever.
So our last story for today, New Poland, majority of Americans support mass deportation of undocumented immigrants. You want to hear this story? Here's this story.
Days to go until Election Day. Scripps News and Ipsos debut new polling about American attitudes toward immigration.
That poll surveyed over 1,000 Americans to get their stance on the border, including top priorities and support for mass deportations.
Political director Andrew Rafferty joins us now from Washington with more on this poll. Andrew, what'd you guys find?
Hey, well, good morning, guys. And we've seen how much of a factor immigration has played in this election up to this point. We expect that to be the case for the next 48 days or so, the less than 7 weeks to go between now and Election Day. And so what we try to do with our poll with Ipsos is really dig in beyond just who voters prefer on the issue of immigration and look at some of the issues that are being talked about, the policies that both of these candidates are putting forth. And we found some really interesting numbers, especially when it comes to this idea of mass deportations. This is something that has been central to Donald Trump's campaign. We saw it at the Republican convention, the people holding signs advocating for the mass deportation of undocumented immigrants. And look at these numbers out just this morning. It shows a majority of Americans support mass deportations for undocumented immigrants. This poll was taken after that first debate. It was at the height of some of that controversy dealing around Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio. So it's a huge issue in the campaign right now. And these numbers reflect just how much of a priority it is. But one of the more interesting.
So, which goes to the point that we made that night when Trump brought up dogs and cats. I'm like, this is all they're going to talk about now, instead of the issue that Trump obviously is a winner for him. All he had to do was say Kamala Harris is the borders are, and she did such a bad job letting in millions and millions of illegal immigrants that she now denies she was ever the borders are. And it's a winner for him. So now J.D. Vance will say, no, by him saying dogs and cats, it got everybody to focus on this. He could have said they dropped 20,000 Haitian immigrants into a town of 60,000. And that's going to cause, that will get. So he's already winning on the issue. But, you know, Trump is not a real politician in a sense. Like, he's a novice in a sense, even though he was president for 4 years. He went from being a game show host, real estate agent, to a president of the United States. And so he doesn't have a political machine around him that he can trust for advice. He doesn't. So he's constantly doing this. And the one guy he did have, Steve Bannon, who was smart enough to keep him on message, is it they put him in jail. They did lawfare against him. So this shows you, look at that. That's a, what is that, a 12 percentage point gap. Again, it's a winning argument for Trump. People want the border closed. I would couple that with stop doing imperialism in Central and South America. Stop creating people desperate enough to come try to sneak into our country. But they don't. No Democrat, no Republican will do that. But look at that. So winning argument. So let's listen to the rest of this. I find this reporter annoying as shit, but here we go.
When you break it down by party, yes, it is driven mostly by Republicans. Nearly 90% of Republicans say they support it. But
58% of independents. That's a pretty big majority. That's almost 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 of independents agree with this. Okay. Oh,
thank you, Mashara. Yield back.
Hang on, I fucked up.
The gentleman yields back. Dr. Murphy is recognized.
With now less than 50 days to go until Election Day.
Trump's campaign, we saw it at the Republican convention, the people holding signs advocating for the mass deportation of undocumented immigrants. And look at these numbers out just this morning. It shows a majority of Americans support mass deportations for undocumented immigrants. This poll was taken after that first debate. It was at the height of some of that controversy dealing around Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio. So it's a huge issue in the campaign right now. And these numbers reflect just how much of a priority it is. But one of the more interesting things is when you break it down by party. Yes, it is driven mostly by Republicans. Nearly 90% of Republicans say they support it. But look at independents, 58%, more than half of independents say they're also in support. And even Democrats, a quarter of Democrats supporting either somewhat supportive or strongly supportive of mass deportation. I think that's a number that jumped out at a lot of us, a lot higher than you would think given the current rhetoric from both parties. But when it comes to big picture immigration, where things stand, deportations is one thing, but there's no doubt the top priority for voters right.
Hey, you're going on TV. Why don't you shave? You ever think about that? You ever think of shaving? Does that make me, am I the square?
Yes.
I think I'm the square.
I think you are.
He's doing that hip. We used to call that the Miami Vice look when I was a kid. But now it's just, hey, who did I wake up in time? I'm going to make it look like I meant it. Okay, here we go.
Now is securing the border. 33%, a plurality, said strengthening the U.S.-Mexico border is the top immigration-related priority for them. You see pathway to citizenship down there, and then deporting those in the country illegally and ensuring opportunities remain for legal entry, providing asylum way down there. Of course, we saw Joe Biden and the Biden administration change their asylum rules. We have some numbers coming up later today that shed some light on whether or not Americans support that. But we're going to bring you some of the more interesting findings throughout the rest of the morning and into the afternoon from this poll. We did it with our partners at Ipsos and our partners out in Phoenix, Arizona, Scripps Station out there, where, of course, they have a big...
Okay, thanks for all the extra bullshit that no one cares about. Well, our partners out there, we have partners in this and that. We're doing all kinds of. Is this a 3-page report and you only have 2 pages of shit to say? Anyway, so there you go. Majority of Americans support mass deportation of undocumented immigrants. Again, it would be a mistake to take your ire out on the undocumented immigrants. I would save my ire for the establishment that flew them in on planes. Made sure the border was open, and then created the conditions in their country that made them desperate enough to want to leave their own country. Can you imagine how horrible things would have to be in your country for you to want to migrate to another country where you don't speak the language? That's what we do. So, okay. Over to Steph.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a premium streamium today. This is going to take me all of maybe 3 minutes to finish these up here. Hannah, sir, it's alarming, but genocide is never the answer. Stop scapegoating and hold your parents accountable for bringing you into this corrupt world instead of cleaning it up. But Hannah, sir, I know you do come on and you frame this position that our parents are held accountable for how we become. At some point, don't we have to come in control of ourselves at some point? Now, I'm not talking about somebody who's dealing with mental illness, but I'm just talking about a kid that, has had a tough life growing up. At what point do you let that go and become your own person with guidance and maybe a counselor? It's just what I'm thinking. NG says the hacking stuff is terrifying. I've worked in the IT industry for over 20 years now, and only buy vehicles with a physical steering rack, real key, and no internet connectivity. NG, I am with you on that one. Wow. If Trump wins, all of a sudden, baby killing, journalist killing, rapist funding will be bad. I guarantee it. Human trafficking to migrants and illegal immigrants to right to work states will be bad. Steve B. I still don't understand with all, I think it was after amnesty that you had to have these forms that you fill out, that you have to show somebody who's a legal resident of the United States, their driver's license or a passport. You have to show that you are actually a citizen to be hired. So aren't you supposed to, instead of the immigrant is illegal, isn't it the business that hires this person to exploit them? Aren't they held accountable? I don't know. Jimmy, joint team, MAGA, Maha, in now, Mafa, make America funny again. Jimmy Dore, funny czar, Sean Joe. One of my good friends protested with Atlanta and D.C. is charged in this, my First Amendment. No, Trump is not playing chess. He's not some secret genius with a master plan to save the world. He's just a dumb game show host businessman who thinks everything is about himself. I don't know how dumb he is, Hannah, sir. I don't know how dumb he is.
As opposed to all the other politicians who really care about the people.
Yeah, they all care about the people. And, I noticed in the chat a couple of you were saying how when his transition team, Trump's transition team, when he first ran for office was terrible. And somebody made the point, he didn't think he was going to win.
That's right.
He never thought he was going to win. Who would think that he was going to beat Hillary Clinton in this machine?
He didn't.
Right? He certainly didn't. I mean, don't you still remember seeing how stunned Melania looked? All right, so I think I have 3 more to read. Okay,
right,
you got it.
I'll do an ad read.
The political capital shit out by the fuckwad left as they huff their own farts and post how moral they are. I'm nearly more afraid of them delivering on health care than remaining uninsured. What the F? I hear you, seaweed. Alt-Scown, Jimmy, Steph, and the People's Pundit here on the Rumble, Locals, Twitter, and YouTube has been accurate week after week for the last 8 years. He's a spicy Italian married to a spicier Latina. Great interviews, Alt-Scown. Thank you. The stories of all insane violence breaks my heart. But I will see you in D.C. for the rally, and that will help. Stay safe. Louise, what a great note to end on today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I see one more here. The way you come into control of yourself or let it go is by thoroughly dealing with your feelings toward your parents so you get them out of your system and stop inflicting them on the wrong people or being prey to illusion. All right, I think we need to hear more about that, Hannah, sir, FYI. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to flip it over to Jimmy in 1 minute. Stay here, stand by. Oh, Grant, that was your message? Right on, Grant. Okay. Hold on, let me see if I have anything else. As you always say, Jimmy, not being a fan of Trump doesn't mean you're a fan of any others. You got that right, Hannah, sir. All right, back to Jim.
I tried to join DraftKings, and so I got downloaded the app and all this stuff, and I had to fill out all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And they go, oh, you can't use it in California. I wanted to bet on the Canelo. So then I got to go, illegal. You got to call a bookie then. Anyway, football season's here, and there's no better way to amp up the excitement than with Prize Picks. It's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. With over 5 million active users, Prize Picks offers the easiest and most thrilling way to play daily fantasy sports. Here's what makes Prize Picks stand out. Ready? Simply pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You pick their stat projections, and you sit back and watch your winnings roll in. That's how you do it. You can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. Huh? Prize Picks puts members first. Isn't that nice when they put members first? With fast, safe, and secure withdrawals. When my pick hits, I can get my money in as quickly as 15 minutes. And get this, in September, you get an automatic win, yes, with every football weekend with just 1 Caleb Williams passing yard. No kidding. So that's right. 1 yard equals 1 win for 4 straight weeks. Well, he's going to get 1 yard. He did pretty good first half anyway. Anyway, want to play alongside celebrities like Drewski and Joe Budden? I don't know who those people are. Check out Community Plays under the Promos tab to view entries from big names in the Prize Picks community. Prize Picks is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. It's the perfect way to enhance your sports watching experience. Ready to join the action? Download the Prize Pick app today and use code Jimmy to get $50 instantly when you play $5. Hey, that sounds like a good deal. That's code Jimmy on Prize Picks for a guaranteed $50 bonus when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive it. Don't miss out on the football fun. Prize Picks, run your game. LA sold out? Oh, okay. Hey, come see us on tour. We'll be in Tempe, Arizona, Burbank, California, and we're going to be in Honolulu, January 11th. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Oh, I could do that. Stick around. There's more to that story coming up right after this.
All right, let me do a couple more here, and then we'll do premium streamium. So did you tell them about 6 o'clock? Great. I'll be done by then. Not a problem. Akita Hart, it's not Democrats versus Republicans anymore. It's people who want to save our constitutional republic. People who want to total government-controlled communist state. It makes it much easier to understand. Sandra, my YouTube got suspended today and reviewed and suspended within 2 hours. Election season for people who don't pay attention. Okay, got that one. Not blue collar, but Western Pennsylvania. Fuck you, Chuck Schumer. My ancestors worked in mills, died in your wars. Fuck you, Zionist prick. Alpine, I read that one. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm just seeing... Progressively lefty, thank you. Slap nuts, thank you. If the Dems win this election cycle, I'm moving to Prussia. T-Bone, stop falling for this Democrat versus Republican shit when people wake up. Just love this Kurt guy. T-Bone. Skapatsy, Jimmy's a fucking legend. Skapatsy, okay. Kirp's a legend too. M. Lafredo, okay, I read that one. Please take this one. Okay, thank you. Purple Glue, got it. T-Box. I know somebody said that I missed it, but I'm trying to look back on everything. Sandra, thank you for the link. Monocular, your favorite centrist journalist, Ryan, hashtag Grimjob, spanked recent guest Matt Walsh today. Why do Haitians whine about us regularly cooing their presidents? Monocular. Akita Hart, thank you. Alt Scown, thank you. Hanniser, got it. Purple Glue. Thank you, Jimmy Man. Terrorism is exactly what it is. My First Amendment podcast. Hey, it's the porn star from Jacksonville. Keep up the good work, boss. You were my birthday gift. All right. Thank you so much, My First Amendment Right podcast. Akita, I really thank you so much, Akita Hart. My First Amendment Right podcast. I read that one. Purple Glue. Read that one. F. Hazal. Got it. My First Amendment, October 7th is Israel's 9/11 excuse to further destabilize the Middle East. My First Amendment Right podcast. Isn't it funny that Iran gives fair warning to the areas it'll be bombing to minimize civil casualties, as does Russia, but Israel for decades has committed horrendous atrocities? The U.S. wasn't involved in pager attacks. Turns out the U.S. was involved. Thomas Autonomous, I read that one. Sam Bruce, Zionism was always Nazism. My First Amendment Right podcast, remember Zionists caused the Nazis. Hannah, sir, Zionism did not cause the Nazis. Cruel and criminal parenting caused the Nazis and the Zionists. My First Amendment Right podcast, Zionists came decades before Nazis. My First Amendment Right podcast, Zionists are the crusaders of Judaism and the view everyone else as a second-class citizen. Germany doesn't go from the smartest country in the world to psychopaths for no reason. Hannah, sir, I read that one about Moritz Schreiber. Jason, I read that one. He answered it for you about Emma. Zionist is a racist ideology worse than Nazis. My First Amendment Right podcast. Hannah, sir, how exactly is it worse? My First Amendment, Hitler was fighting the same people that started Israel. Hannah, sir, everyone acting like genocide is a solution to genocide needs to stop. I read that one. Okay, I've read My First Amendment, $1. What would the government say if China blew up BlackBerries? Israel's just set up a dangerous precedent. My First Amendment Right podcast. Thank you. Hannah, sir. Thank you. NG Hermit. Thank you. Hot tip there. Hannah, sir. Thank you very much. My First Amendment. Thank you. Read it. Shanjo, I read that one. My First Amendment. Got it. Steve B. If Trump wins, all of a sudden, baby killing, journalist killing. I read that one. Louise Brooke. I read that. And I know somebody said that I missed your thing, but I don't see it. So sorry about missing your thing. All right. Let me see if anything else came up while I was reading things. All right. Are you coming to check out some of our shows? Right. Go to jimmydore.com. Seaweed. I read that one. Okay, and thank you. Hannah, sir, thank you very much. As you always say, Jimmy, not being a fan of Trump doesn't mean you're a fan of any others. Hannah, sir, got it. Rich Sack, if Jimmy were a one-issue voter voting for no more wars, would he vote for Kamala or Trump? Well, seems like they're both into war, but one's less than the other. Who would that be? It would sound like Trump, right? All right. Jesse Lee Peterson, my First Amendment. I don't know why you're saying that one. I missed that. The parent thing sounds like Jesse Lee Peterson rhetoric. Love Jesse, but think it so much applies here. I don't know what you meant on that one. All right, thank you. All right, here's another one. No idea who Jesse Lee Peterson is, but parenting has everything to do with everything we're talking about. When you learn that, then you become part of the change you want to be. Hannah, sir? All right, so I can't see that one. Did the best I can. All right, why don't you go and do the best you can somewhere? For somebody, why not? Adios, see you Friday. Bye.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit
Isn't it swell? The memes make themselves. They found a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical grace soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest men.
At this time, more than any other time, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, the babies that have been murdered, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, money poor people. This government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. We don't really know what war is, for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison, but they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators, and they're going to have riots on their hands. They're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do. And a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. We have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating what we need, what needs to be done. And, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. Don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. Unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, this system and those backing the officials running this system, want people to believe that revolution means violence, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. When people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where do you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. They get it from us accepting the things that they do to be done to stop it. Then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. Every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is, whether you want to be or not. Our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. Men, women, and children were murdered. And not just MOVE babies. What about all of the young men, women, children 8, 9 years old shot down on the street by cops, by drug pushers? Where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, making a quick buck, I'm saying that's where that needs to be done to stop it. Then, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, you know, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. You know, how long are people going to sit back and beg, you know, this government to do what's right when for hundreds of years all you've gotten is a slap in the face? All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government.